Julian Scola from Brussels. He's from the European Wind Energy Association. He joins us now. When we talk about this French auction, Julian, just tell us, how are these projects going to be funded?
Well, there's a mixture of funding going to be available. Obviously, the utilities themselves have finance from their balance sheets, but we're also looking for finance from banks. And given that funding is quite tough from the banks at the moment, we're looking to alternative investment as well, from private equity, from pension funds, and to some extent now from public investors like the European Investment Bank.
Right, and you mentioned financing tough to come by from the banks. That is, of course, a byproduct of the European sovereign crisis. Does that actually mean that we're going to see less of these projects come online than we're being told right now?
Well, certainly at the moment it is. We're having a bit of a bumpy ride. There's been huge growth over the last 15 years, about 17% annually over the last 15 years. But the latest figures we have from 2010 do show a reduction in the increase in capacity. And that is as a result of the problems with finance. But the long-term prospects are extremely positive, both in Europe and worldwide, as your reporter said.
How does what's happening at Vestas Wind Systems illustrate the risks of this industry right now?
Well, this is an industry that is going through some change at the moment, partly because of the difficulties, the financial difficulties in Europe, but also because it's become a global market. There are competitors entering the market from China, from other parts of Asia, from the US. So there is going to be change, of course. But European companies are world leaders in this technology. They've been innovating for 25 years, and they'll continue to innovate and, and do well in the future.
We have seen what some call overexpansion in this industry. You just mentioned competition from China and India. Are we going to have to see some consolidation in this industry?
Well, there certainly will be some change in the industry, that's clear. You're seeing Asian manufacturers coming to Europe. We already have European manufacturers active in the markets in China, in the US. They're entering the Latin American market. And there will be major expansion also in the European market. But right now, there is a bumpy ride in Europe. And with the extra competition, there will be change within the industry.
Let's just look at Europe for a moment, because what I'm curious about is how much wind energy is enough wind energy. At what point does it reach saturation?
Well, you have to look at the legal commitments entered into by the governments of the European Union. They have committed to source 20% of their energy from renewable sources. They've also committed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 20% by 2020, and they have a longer-term commitment to reduce greenhouse gases by 80% by 2050. So that means completely decarbonising the power system, and so they're going to have to rely very heavily on the wind industry to deliver that.
Julian, we've got to leave it there. Julian Scola, thank you very much, Communication Director of the European Wind Energy Association from Brussels.